Want to know how my RAL cash flows better than your Airbnb? Let's go.
In the United States right now, there are 76 million baby boomers. The number one dilemma for these baby boomers? Housing. That dilemma can be your opportunity. Welcome to the Assisted Living Network podcast, where you can discover how just one residential assisted living home could secure your financial future forever.
Hey, it's Isabelle from the Assisted Living Network. The cash flow of an RAL versus an Airbnb. So you own an Airbnb and it cash flows, right? Maybe 3 or 4K a month net profit for you. Cool. I can show you how to make 10K or even 20K a month on one RAL home in the same neighborhood. Yeah. You see, Airbnb, when it launched in 2018, it was genius. Growing up, me and my family, we have 4 siblings and my parents, and we always took friends or boyfriends, girlfriends on the vacation. And so my dad, he always had us stay in vacation rentals, never hotels, because hotel room for 6+ people, we're getting, 2 or 3 rooms, and it was actually cheaper for us to always rent a home. And Airbnb didn't exist back then, so he was always searching different websites, finding homes, and it was going to be like, is this going to be sketchy when we pull up? And sometimes they were, but many times they were amazing. So when Airbnb became a big thing, we were thrilled. I love staying in Airbnbs, okay? I'm not a hater, but this is relatively new, right? We've really been seeing them pop up over the last 10, 15 years, but it's starting to come to that decline. And let's talk about why. The rules and regulations over the last few years have made it almost impossible for Airbnb owners to cash flow well. Listen, Airbnb.com says some cities have laws that restrict your ability to host paying guests for short periods. These laws are often part of city zoning or administrative codes. In many cities, you must register, get a permit, or obtain a license before you list your property or accept guests. Certain types of short-term bookings may be prohibited altogether. Local governments vary greatly in how they enforce these laws, and penalties may include fines or other enforcements. Yikes. There are a lot of rules these days on no parties allowed in these homes, or they can get shut down if they do allow it. And there's a lot of rules on no guests other than the amounts of people that you're allowed to have in the home. I'll never forget, we rented an Airbnb for a business meeting one time and we were kicked out. Literally for a business meeting. So the home was allowed to have 12 people stay there, and we had 12 people sleeping there. But we had a lot of local people. So everybody came over during the day. We were literally sitting in the living room having a business meeting. We were not drinking. We were not partying. There was about 20 people sitting in the living room having a business meeting. And someone came to knock on the door, and we were like, hey, what's going on? He said, oh, well, how many people do you have in here? And we were like, what? Like, who are you? He's like, oh, well, I take out the trash cans on Tuesdays. And we're like, huh? And he's like, how many people are in here? He pulls up his phone and takes a picture of us. And I was like, what is going on? I was so weirded out. So I closed the door because I don't know who this guy is. He didn't tell us he was the owner. It was so weird. And then 10 minutes later, I get a call and this person says, hey, I'm the owner of the Airbnb. He came to check up on you guys. You have 20 people in there. You're only allowed to have 12. And I was like, well, 20 people aren't sleeping here. Only 12 are. We're staying in the alignment with the rules. He's like, no, city rules say if there's allowed to be 12 sleeping guests, that's all the amount of guests that are allowed to come over, not one more. Well, how are we supposed to know that? That is insane, and honestly sucks that Airbnb even implemented that rule, because now we couldn't host it for a business meeting. And apparently, if I wanted to have the 20, he explained to me on the phone, I needed to buy business insurance, have party insurance, all this stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, we're not doing this. Our meeting's gonna last 1 more hour and we'll be out of here. And he was not happy about that either. I know that there's even distance rules and length of stay rules. There's even a lottery in San Diego on how many of these homes that you can own as an Airbnb host, because you have to make more homes available for regular civilians, as if they can even afford them, right? Let's be honest. But I'll also say this, hoteliers, they have a lot more money, power, and resources than the solopreneur like you or I. And they put money and power and resources together to bully the cities into making these rules so tough for the Airbnb owners to operate that they basically give up or make them shut down. Let's go even further. According to ABC7, the world's largest hotel company is trying to take on Airbnb directly by offering private homes for rental. Marriott International has signed for 60,000 properties to add to its 1.5 million hotel rooms. The hotel chain said it's created its homes and villas offering to meet the growing demand for short-term rentals. By comparison, Marriott's initial offering is considerably smaller than Airbnb's 6 million listings, but the company said all of the properties come with Marriott's guarantees, along with its loyalty rewards program. I mean, which one are you going to stay at? The one that you're going to get points for and get benefits for, or the one who's owned by a local entrepreneur? And who can run these homes better? I mean, a huge mega corporation with more money, power, and resources to run it efficiently without a property management company. So, I've hated on this industry enough. Now, let's get into the comparisons. So we have to compare apples to apples. So with RAL, you're not doing this in the slums. You're buying a big, beautiful luxury home in a really nice part of town. So let's use that same example of a property. You buy a luxury home in a nice part of town and the mortgage is $10K a month, okay? The property management fees are 10 to 20% of each booking's total amount. And you're planning to rent it out at $1,000 a night, right? For a minimum of 20 nights throughout the month. That's your goal. So $20,000 minus your, let's go with down the middle and call it 15% in property management fees. So about $3K. Okay, minus the $10,000 for the mortgage and then another $3,000 for utilities, cable, electricity, water supplies, HOA, repairs, you name it. Okay, so this one home is going to bring you in $4,000 a month. Not bad. It's really not. But this means you have to be booked 20 nights a month. Let's say you were only booked 10 nights that month for whatever reason. That brings your profit down to negative $4,500 a month with the $3K for utilities and extras, the $10K in mortgage, and the $1,500 in property management. But if you were to be booked for 30 days in the month, every single day, not one day unbooked, let's really dream here. $30,000 minus the $10K in mortgage, minus the $3K in utilities and extras, $4,500 in property management fees, that's $12,500 a month. Woohoo! Now you're really killing it, okay? So on the low end, you're making negative $4,500 a month. And on the highest, booked every single night of the month, you're making $12,500 a month. Let's do the same rundown with an RAL home, using the same home at $10,000 a month in mortgage. The average cost of RAL care in our country today is $5,350 per person per month. These numbers were recently released, so this is big news. We finally have up-to-date numbers, yay. But listen, this includes our friends who are on government funding, as well as our friends who have private pay. And if you chat with most people who have a loved one in a home or facility, they'll tell you that this number, $5,350, seems insanely low, and that they could not find care for less than $7,000 or $8,000 a month minimum. So let's go with kind of in between that. $6,700 per month per person. That's very average in our country today. Times 10 residents, because depending on where you live in the country, you're going to be allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in the home. So we'll go with 10 for easy math, cutting it right down the middle. That's $67,000 coming in every single month, minus your $10K in mortgage. And then there's the overhead. The overhead in residential assisted living is high. And listen, for 10 residents, it's probably around $35,000 a month, easily. This will include paying for care, your caregivers, your manager. How about food? Built-in vacancies. We always build in 10% vacancies. Marketing, insurance, activities, it's all included. So that $67,000 coming in, minus $10K in mortgage, minus $35,000 in expenses, that leaves us with $22,000 a month net profit to you, the owner operator. Wow. But what if we went even lower, like a home that only charged $5,500 times the same 10 residents, so bringing in $55,000 every month. On the same home, it costs us $10K a month in mortgage, $35,000 in overhead. That's still bringing us in $10,000 a month. So on the low end, 10K a month. On the high end, 20K a month. I mean, if I had one single family luxury home and I had to decide what to do with it, the answer is abundantly clear to me. Take my chance with Airbnb bust and go for negative 4,500 up to potential profit of 12,500, or invest in an industry that has stood the test of time, making it through 2 recessions at the top of its game, an industry that has massive growing need, and one that can cash flow 10 to 22K a month on just one home. Oh, you know what I'm doing, baby. But the choice is always up to you. So if you want to learn how to turn your luxury Airbnb into an RAL, let's chat. Schedule a call so we can discuss more at RAL101.com. Don't forget to like and share this episode and follow us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening to the Assisted Living Network.